Hello and welcome back to my channel, students, your go-to destination for mastering English core class 12. If you are here, it means you are ready to not just learn but to excel. And I am here to guide you every step of the way. Whether it's unraveling complex summaries, tackling difficult questions, or perfecting your writing, you have got this. And I am here to help you make it happen. For those who are new, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exam oriented content tailored to help you ace your CBSE board exams. In today's video, we will dive deep into the chapter interview, providing you with everything you need to confidently tackle this chapter. Here is what we'll cover. Now that you know what's coming up, let's dive straight into interview and break it down step by step. Get ready to take notes because this session is packed with valuable insights. Let's start with the detailed summary. In this section, we'll cover all the important events and facts from the chapter. Pay close attention as this will lay the foundation for understanding the themes and questions. Let me take you into the world of interviews, a fascinating, sometimes controversial but undeniably powerful tool of communication. Picture this: a journalist sitting across from a renowned personality, armed with nothing but a pen, a notepad, and a mind full of questions. What unfolds in that moment is more than just a conversation. It's a gateway into the thoughts, beliefs, and lives of people who shape the world. This is exactly what Christopher Sylvester explores in the interview, an insightful piece that dives deep into the art and science of interviews. So, let's unfold this narrative step by step. Our story begins with the interview itself, a modern phenomenon that has become one of the most significant ways to connect with the public. Imagine sitting down with someone whose name alone commands attention, be it a celebrity, a politician, or a scientist. The power of the interview lies in its ability to bring their world closer to us. But not everyone sees interviews in the same light. Some view them as a necessary evil, others as an unwelcome invasion of privacy. Take Lewis Carroll, the brilliant mind behind Alice in Wonderland. He avoided interviews entirely, preferring to let his work speak for itself. And then there's Rudyard Kipling, who once called interviews immoral as if they were a personal affront to his dignity. H.G. Wells, another literary giant, wasn't exactly a fan either. He described interviews as a thumbprint on the windpipe, an imagery so vivid that it makes you stop and think, are interviews an artful conversation or an interrogation in disguise? Yet, despite the criticism, interviews remain one of the most effective ways to tell stories and shape opinions. They have the power to influence, educate, and entertain. And while some shy away from them, others embrace the opportunity to connect with the public and define their narrative. Now let's travel to the office of Umberto Eco, a man whose life is as fascinating as his novels. Eco, an Italian scholar and novelist, is best known for his masterpiece, The Name of the Rose, a detective story set in a medieval monastery. When asked about his writing, Eco's response is both humble and profound. He doesn't call himself a novelist. No, he says, I am an academic who writes novels on the side as a hobby. Imagine that, a hobby that turned into an international bestseller, selling millions of copies. But how did he do it? How did he manage to balance academic work, philosophical pursuits, and writing intricate novels? Eco shares his secret: interstitial time, those little moments in a day that most of us waste waiting for a meeting, standing in line, or even sitting in traffic. Eco did not waste time. He used every spare moment productively. weaving together ideas that would later form the backbone of his academic work and novels. He also spoke about his love for semiotics, the study of signs and symbols. For Eco, this wasn't just a subject, it was a lens through which he saw the world. And it's this unique perspective that made The Name of the Rose such a remarkable book. Here is the twist in the story. Eco never expected his novel to become a global phenomenon. After all, it wasn't a typical page turner, it was a dense, philosophical, and layered with history. Yet readers across the world fell in love with it. Why? According to Eco, it's because people are drawn to complexity when it is presented in an engaging way. He had managed to take something intellectually demanding and make it accessible, a skill that few can master. And here's the best part about Eco. Despite his fame, he remained down to earth. His humility shines through in the way he speaks, his wit making every conversation a delight. So, what does the interview teach us? It's not just about questions and answers, it's about bridging worlds, sharing ideas, and creating a connection, whether it's a reluctant subject like Kipling or an enthusiastic one like Eco. Interviews reveal the stories behind the people who shape our world. And as you walk away from this chapter, you will realize that interviews are not just a tool for journalists, they are a window into human nature, a way to understand and learn from the minds of others. That's the magic of the interview, a chapter that reminds us of the power of words and the art of meaningful conversation. Next, let's explore the deeper layers of the chapter, themes and key messages. These insights will help you craft thoughtful and impactful answers in your exams. Let's begin with the first and the most relevant and evident theme, the power of interviews. The interviews are more than just a tool for gathering information. They are a bridge between the interviewer and the interviewee and the public. They have the power to shed light on hidden truths, reveal the personalities behind public figures, and even public opinion. For example, Umberto Eco's interview with Mukund Padmanabhan allows us to see a different side of the famous scholar and novelist. We learn about his work ethic, his philosophy on time management, and his humble view of his success. This theme reminds us that interviews are not just about questions and answers, they are a medium to connect with and understand the minds that influence the world. Through this, the chapter emphasizes the transformative power of this art form. The second theme explores the duality of interviews. Interviews are often seen in two contrasting lights. On one hand, they are an opportunity to share ideas, stories, and perspectives with a wide audience. On the other hand, they can feel intrusive, almost like an invasion of privacy. This duality is evident in the reactions of famous personalities. Lewis Carroll avoided interviews altogether, considering them uncomfortable and unwelcome. Rudyard Kipling went so far as to call them immoral, criticizing their invasive nature. Meanwhile, others, like Umberto Eco, embrace interviews as a platform to share their unique perspectives. This theme highlights how interviews can be a blessing or a burden depending on the subject's perspective. It prompts us to think about the ethical responsibility of the interviewers in balancing curiosity with respect for privacy. The third theme revolves around intellectual humility. Through the example of Umberto Eco, the chapter demonstrates that true intellect is often accompanied by humility. Despite his fame and success, Eco remains grounded. He describes himself as an academic who writes novels as a hobby, never letting his global acclaim affect his scholarly pursuits. This theme teaches us that greatness lies in staying true to one's roots. Eco's humility also makes his achievements relatable, showing us that even the most brilliant minds approach their work with simplicity and dedication. The fourth theme focuses on time management and productivity. Umberto Eco introduces us to his concept of interstitial time, those small intervals of time during the day that most people waste. Eco uses these moments to think, reflect, and write, allowing him to achieve so much in his lifetime. This theme is a powerful reminder that productivity doesn't always come from big, uninterrupted blocks of time. Instead, success can come from making the most of the little moments in our daily lives. Eco's philosophy is an inspiration for all of us to rethink how we can use our time. The final theme is the complexity of fame. This chapter reveals how fame can mean different things to different people. For some, it's a burden that brings unwanted attention. For others, it's an opportunity to reach a larger audience. Umberto Eco strikes a balance. He does not let fame define him, but uses it to share his intellectual ideas with the world. This theme underscores the idea that fame is a tool and it's up to the individual to decide how to use it. Eco's approach teaches us to stay focused on our passions even when the spotlight is on us. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments which theme resonated with you the most. Now on to the most exam focused section, reference to context. I'll share some critical reference to context with explanations and quotes which you can use directly to boost your marks. Let's take them one by one. This line emphasizes the significance of the interviews as a modern tool for sharing ideas and information. The word supremely highlights how interviews bridge the gap between the public and the prominent figures, making their thoughts and opinions accessible. It sets the tone for the chapter, which revolves around the role of interviews in journalism and literature. This statement reflects the contrasting views about interviews. While some see them as invasive and intrusive, others admire the skill and sensitivity required to conduct a meaningful interview. This duality forms one of the key themes of the chapter, questioning the ethical boundaries of this medium. This humorous comparison reveals Lewis Carroll's extreme aversion to interviews. By likening his avoidance to the plague, the text underscores his discomfort with public interaction and reinforces the idea that interviews are not universally welcomed by all public figures. Here is Kipling's critique of interviews is highlighted, portraying his views of them as an intrusion into personal boundaries. His strong language, that is immoral, adds weight to his argument, reflecting the disdain some intellectuals felt for this practice. This line shows Wells' dislike for interviews, describing them as a distressing experience. The use of the word ordeal evokes a sense of discomfort, reinforcing the negative perception that some people have of interviews. Eco's humility is evident here. By referring to his novel writing as a Sunday activity, he downplays his success and views writing as an extension of his academic work. This statement illustrates Eco's intellectual priorities and his grounded attitude towards fame. This pivotal line captures Umberto Eco's concept of interstitial time. It reveals how he utilizes small, otherwise idle moments in his day to be productive. This philosophy of time management is central to understanding his prolific output as a writer and academic. Eco's observation about his famous novel highlights its intellectual complexity. Despite being dense and philosophical, the novel became a global bestseller, demonstrating that readers appreciate depth and substance when presented engagingly. Eco's insight here explains the success of The Name of the Rose. He attributes the book's popularity to the balance between intellectual challenge and narrative engagement, which appeals to readers who enjoy thought provoking content. This line underscores Eco's disciplined approach to his work. Despite achieving international fame, he prioritizes his academic endeavors, serving as a reminder of the importance of staying grounded and focused on one's passions. This statement reflects Eco's modesty and surprise at the widespread success of his work. It also illustrates how great achievements often come from a place of genuine passion and not merely the pursuit of popularity. This metaphor by H.G. Wells vividly describes the suffocating nature of interviews for some people. It conveys the anxiety and discomfort felt by individuals who view interviews as an unwanted invasion of their personal space. This line points to the varying quality of interviews. While some delve deep into the subject's personality and beliefs, others fail to extract meaningful insights, becoming superficial interactions instead. This statement reflects the idea that interviews often reflect societal concerns, values, and trends. They serve as a platform to discuss issues that resonate with the audience, making them culturally significant. This line highlights the universally curiosity that drives the popularity of interviews. It explains why people are drawn to interviews. They offer a glimpse into the lives and minds of others, satisfying our innate desire for knowledge and connection. These quotes not only deepen your understanding of the chapter but also provide excellent material for your exam answers. Identifying literary devices is a sure way to score extra points. Here is a breakdown of all the devices used in this chapter with short examples to make them easy to understand and spot. This is a powerful metaphor used by H.G. Wells to describe the suffocating nature of interviews. By comparing interviews to a thumbprint on the windpipe, he vividly conveys the sense of intrusion and discomfort some people feel during such encounters. The humorous exaggeration in this statement emphasizes Carroll's extreme dislike for interviews. The comparison to the plague lightens the tone while making a serious point about his aversion to public interaction. The stark contrast between the words assault and art highlights the dual nature of interviews. This device effectively brings out the conflicting perceptions of interviews, making the narrative more engaging and thought provoking. This line is an allusion to Kipling's personal disdain for interviews. By referencing a famous literary figure, the author adds depth and credibility to the discussion on the ethics of interviews. There's an underlying irony in Umberto Eco's statement. While he modestly describes his writing as a mere hobby, he has achieved global fame for his novels, showcasing how significant his Sunday activity turned out to be. This metaphor also functions as imagery as it creates a vivid mental picture of the discomfort associated with interviews. The visual and physical sense of pressure enhances the reader's understanding of Wells' perspective. The chapter uses Eco's anecdote about utilizing interstitial time to provide a relatable and practical example. Anecdotes like these make the narrative engaging and help illustrate abstract concepts in a concrete way. The use of hyperbole exaggerates Carroll's avoidance of interviews. This literary device emphasizes his discomfort while also adding a touch of humor to the narrative. Here, interviews are personified as a mirror that reflects societal concerns, values, and trends. This device helps convey the cultural and social significance of interviews in a creative and relatable way. The repetition of the word interviews reinforces the central idea of the chapter. It draws attention to the varying quality of interviews and their potential to uncover deep truths or fail entirely. The author employs a conversational tone throughout the chapter, making it accessible and engaging for readers. For instance, phrases like some consider it art, others call it assault, mimic the flow of everyday conversation, ensuring the reader stays connected to the narrative. The chapter is filled with examples of famous personalities like Lewis Carroll, Rudyard Kipling, and H.G. Wells. These examples make the discussion relatable and provide real world context to theoretical arguments. Christopher Sylvester presents both sides of the argument about interviews, those who view them positively and those who criticize them. This balanced approach makes the chapter thoughtful and credible. The inclusion of direct quotes from renowned personalities like Kipling and Wells adds authenticity and authority to the narrative. It also allows readers to see the different perspectives directly from the source. Humor is skillfully woven into the text, lightening the tone while addressing serious ideas. For example, the line about Lewis Carroll avoiding interviews like the plague is both amusing and impactful. Now let's explore the key words and phrases that hold the essence of the chapter, the interview. These expressions are central to understanding the text and can significantly enhance the quality of your exam answers. Let's break them down one by one. This phrase is used to describe the effectiveness of interviews as a medium of communication. The word supremely emphasizes their unmatched ability to bridge the gap between public figures and society. This contrast phrase highlights the dual perception of interviews. While some view them as invasive or assault, others regard them as a skilled practice or art. These words encapsulate the theme of the chapter. A vivid metaphor by H.G. Wells, this phrase symbolizes the suffocating nature of interviews for some individuals. It conveys a strong sense of discomfort and invasion of privacy. Rudyard Kipling's use of words like immoral and offense reflects his disdain for interviews. These words capture the ethical concerns surrounding this form of journalism. H.G. Wells refers to interview as an ordeal, a term that signifies a distressing or challenging experience. This word captures the anxiety that interviews can evoke in some people. Coined by Umberto Eco, this term refers to the small, often overlooked gaps in one's daily schedule. Eco uses this concept to explain how he utilizes these moments for productive thinking and writing. This phrase personifies interviews as a mirror, reflecting the concerns, values, and interests of society. It highlights the cultural and social significance of this medium. This self-description by Umberto Eco reveals his humility. The phrase shows how he views novel writing as a side activity despite his global success as a novelist. Eco describes the name of the rose as popular yet difficult, capturing its intellectual complexity while acknowledging its global appeal. These words underline the balance between challenge and engagement in his work. This phrase highlights the varying quality of interviews. Some uncover deep truths, reveal the soul, while others fail to provide meaningful insights. That is, waste of time. This phrase points to the human tendency to be curious about others' lives. It explains the universal appeal of interviews as a medium that satisfies this innate curiosity. This phrase captures the essence of Umberto Eco's personality. Despite his fame, he remains grounded and focused on his scholarly pursuits. This term refers to the ability of interviews to bring about change, whether by shedding light on hidden truths or shaping public opinion. This phrase underscores the need for interviewers to balance curiosity with respect for privacy. It reflects one of the key discussions in the chapter. This phrase symbolizes the unique perspective interviews bring by allowing individuals to speak for themselves. It emphasizes the authenticity and personal connection that interviews provide. Understanding these key words and phrases will help you write well-framed answers and articulate the central ideas of the chapter effectively. Let's now move on to the next section. Many students lose marks by making avoidable mistakes. Let's discuss the common errors to steer clear of when answering questions from this chapter. Students often overlook the mix of humor, satire, and serious reflections, focusing too much on one aspect of the tone. Students may confuse the distinct viewpoints of H.G. Wells, Rudyard Kipling, and Umberto Eco, assuming they all share the same opinion about the interviews. Students tend to oversimplify deeper concepts like interstitial time and the ethics of interviews, missing their broader implications. The use of metaphors, irony, and humor is sometimes ignored, leading to incomplete analysis of the author's style and message. Responses often lack specific details from the text, leading to answers that are too vague and don't address the question directly. Some students miss the point that the chapter presents both the positive and negative aspects of interviews, focusing only on the critique. Including quotes without explaining their relevance or how they connect to the themes of the chapter is a common mistake. Failing to consider the author's intention behind writing the chapter, which is to provoke thought about the ethics and significance of interviews. Students often miss how humor serves a purpose beyond entertainment, helping to explore serious topics with lightedness. Including excessive unrelated details that don't tie into the chapter's themes can distract from the main point. To help you prepare effectively, here's a list of probable questions that might come in your boards. Go through the value points carefully. These short questions and value points will help you focus on the key elements of the chapter and answer concisely in exams. Now let's move on to the more in-depth long answer questions from the chapter. These questions will require a thorough understanding of the chapter's themes, literary devices, and key messages. In each answer, you will need to explain the ideas clearly, providing relevant quotes and examples from the text. Here are the long questions along with the value points that will guide you to craft detailed, well-structured answers. These long questions will help you explore the chapter in depth, allowing you to demonstrate your understanding and ability to analyze the text critically. Make sure you include sufficient explanations and examples from the chapter to support your responses effectively. Finally, let's talk about tips to score maximum points. From structuring your answers to using quotes effectively, these strategies will ensure you write answers that stand out. And that's a wrap for the chapter. I hope this session has given you clarity and confidence to tackle this chapter like a pro. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more such exam-oriented content. Have any questions or suggestions? Drop them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, keep studying, stay focused and believe in yourself. You have got this.